helping people find a better version of themselves is very rewarding to me. I spent a lot of time on one side of this business for a long time, and I had amazing teachers that helped me do that exact same thing. And watching people change and understand something about themselves that they didn't understand before, or attention that they're holding, and just watch them open up is very rewarding to me. I love it. I just love being able to help someone find a greater version of themselves. We are here at Ripley Greer Studios in Midtown, and we did a masterclass for about 70 people. We had 7 work slots, and everybody else was observing, but everybody got to work. Everybody got to stand up. Everybody got to do body work. We did a group warm-up. We did body alignment work with everyone, so everybody got to feel like they participated, questions and answers. And then we worked live with people one-on-one. Some people I knew, some people I didn't know, and we all kind of chimed in and gave our 2 cents and created a little better version of who they were as a singer after we worked, hopefully, than when they walked in. I think when you do this enough, right? We do, how many lessons do we teach a day? 6, sometimes you 9. It's like I taught 10 a day for a long time. You do things enough times over and over again, you can look at a person and go, okay, they're holding here, they're doing this. Their mother was overbearing, and like you can just kind of like know before they open their mouth. Exactly.
This is your team, right? This is the team.
This is my fabulous team that I couldn't do any of this without. I love them, love them.
I'm Mike Maxner, and I've been teaching with Matt. I've been teaching with him for 10, almost 11 years now, and he and I met forever ago. Back when I was still in college, we met at a cheesecake factory at somebody's birthday in Oklahoma City, and then I started taking lessons with him when I moved to the city, and then worked with him all through my acting career, and then started working with him eventually as a teacher. And I think that what I gravitated to the most with his teaching, and now kind of like what we all align with at the studio, is the idea that we're teaching practical singing. And Matt talked a little bit about this in the class. Like, we're not teaching singing in a vacuum. We're teaching singing for real world actors that are on stage. So like, no, you don't get to sing in a perfect world. You don't get to always be in your perfect alignment. You have to learn how to work with imperfection. And you have to learn to sing in that environment. And at the end of the day, your singing isn't about your voice. It's about communicating. And what you're training to do in your lessons isn't how to sing the most beautifully necessarily or the most impressively, but rather to communicate the most effectively. And if what you're doing with your voice is distracting, then that's a problem. And we have to figure out how to best express ourselves through the voice and not have it be an obstacle.
I'm Jesse Kissel. I guess I've been with you for a little, not 2 years yet, like a year and a half. Yeah. I love Matt because when I came to you, I'm a pianist and I'm a conductor and I have a lot of different skills, but I've always been a singer. I used to play voice lessons when I was in undergrad and graduate school. And Matt was like, you need to, once you feel your instincts of what you're hearing, like as a coach, you'll be able to get into it more and help people more. And that's really how I started doing it. And your technique is so brilliant and it's so specific to each person, like you said, that comes in the room. You want to help the specific person. You see the tension they have in their mouth. You see the tension they have in their shoulders. You hear the tension they have when they start singing. But every person is different and you have to help them in a different way. I love that. It's so unique and fun. And it's like a little puzzle every time someone walks through the door.
When I interview my teachers, I have them give Andre a voice lesson. Because what I'm listening for is not necessarily what they know technically, but their instincts. So all of these people have amazing instincts about and learning to trust their instincts and trust inside of themselves more. And we almost can kind of feel what's happening in our body, what's happening in someone else's body. If we train that ability, everyone has the ability to do this, but these people are very, very good at it. And then we can put the technique to what they're feeling and find the solution through what they're feeling through technique, if that makes sense.
Because my ears were so used to hearing things, but once I had the technique attached to it, I was like, oh, I actually can fix that person. Wow, great.
Hi, I'm Grace Shermack, and I've been working with Matt, teaching for him for about 5 years now, and then I worked with him as a singer before then. And I think what I'm drawn to the most with his approach, and now our team, I love how collaboratively we all work, and also like the mind, body, and spirit connection. like Matt mentioned, I think trusting our own intuition and like the messages that we get through our body to them, then communicate to them so they can find more vocal freedom. That's what I'm learning how to trust more. And then we bounce ideas off of each other to always be learning and expanding, because I think sometimes we have voices that come in and it's a unique situation and we bring it to each other's attention and then we can grow from there. So I really like the holistic approach and how quickly we can assess things and then bring that success through what they are experiencing. So we can see it, understand it, and then have them experience it. That's my favorite part.
Hello. I'm Eros. And I've been teaching through Matt's studio for 7 months. It hasn't been that long. I'm the newest member. A little baby over here. But, I heard of Matt over the pandemic because everything shut down, no access to voice teachers. And I was like, well, I don't have money and I want to keep this up. So I started practicing through the app that he had created. And then cut to a few months ago and I started working with Matt and everyone here. And something that I have found really wonderful about working through the studio is there is such a spiritual approach or a holistic approach to how we find vulnerability with our students and allow them to show up in a vulnerable way. And I think it's really insightful and powerful to allow these artists, these little kids who are just running rampant or caged up in a person who want to come out but don't quite find that trust in themselves, but to create that space for them to be themselves fully. And sometimes that brings tears, and they're just crying, but they're like, yeah, but that's it. That's exactly, I want, let all that out because that's going to connect you to yourself more and it'll free your voice up and make you more, allow you to be more embodied. And it's really beautiful to see everyone connect in that way with their students as well.
Explain your philosophy of teaching. I think it's fascinating what you present and what you look for.
So I think that my philosophy has changed over the time, but it is always the thing that's always remained is the simplicity of what we're doing. And if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And if it's complicated, it's not right. So what is this most simple way to get someone to understand their unique instrument and to be able to, like Eros was saying, communicate with that instrument? A lot of times I hear, oh, this feels like how I used to sing before I started voice lessons. Oh, I don't have to think about my acting when I'm doing this because they're connected and every voice sounds different. So I never try to make two instruments sound the same. Like you said, there's one Audra, there's one Kristen, people are unique. And everyone comes with their different set of emotional circumstances, a different body, a different larynx, different vocal folds. So there's been many stories of people that they go into the doctor and their vocal cords don't look perfect. And then they do all this work to try to change it, and then they end up not being able to sing because their vocal cords weren't perfect from the beginning. So the body adjusts, and I want to create the most tension-free, authentic feeling of communication and singing that's joyful, that doesn't cause the person any stress, and is technically proficient at the same time. So that is my philosophy in teaching. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have, some people learn that way. Some people want to know exactly what everything is happening at the same time. And that is great. That's great. If you want, and my Aquarius is especially like when we started working together, I was like, don't you just understand? Can you hear it? She's like, can you please put that in technical terms? And then as soon as she understood it in her brain, it would go into her body. So some people, everyone works differently. So I have to gauge in front of me, who do I have in front of me? Not every student is different. And I have to treat them as though I'm giving a first voice lesson from the second they come in. I can't phone it in. We have to really just work with what's right in front of us, which is all we ever really have, right?
You asked the question of like, what do we each have a breakthrough moment? And I feel like we all kind of collectively like went like blank, like we didn't have an answer. And I was just trying to wonder about like why that is. And I think that the reason is because we don't really operate thinking about the big breakthrough moments. It's more like the beauty of kind of the long-term journey of it. And it's not about like the individual like second breakthrough. It's more kind of like, oh my God, look at how far you've come.
Yes.
Like we've been working together for a year and look how much your voice has developed over that time. And maybe we didn't even see it happen in one moment. It happened in tiny little adjustments that were made over a long period of time, and through that, they're able to remain natural, and we're able to make adjustments that are respectful of who they are energetically.
So they all have breakthrough moments. Everybody does.
It's like
Well,
every
yeah.
voice lesson kind of has them,
Yeah.
but they're not.
They can be big and small. You know, I think some of the biggest breakthrough moments that at least I think we talk about sometimes or we experience most intensely is when someone maybe has some blocked energy in their body. Maybe, you know, I think something that comes to mind for me is one of my students just had a lot of, you could say, on her chest, and she had a lot of tension in through her thoracic spine, and she just needed to let something literally off of her chest, and cried, released a lot of emotion, but then her chest voice started to come out in a whole new way by the end of the lesson. And she's so cute. She goes to LaGuardia High School. And she told me the next time I saw her that she just journaled about it. And that's just, you know, everyone's on their own journey. But then like what Mike said is sometimes it's chipping away at how the disturbed mind shows up in our everyday life and slowly quieting that voice, getting into the present moment. And here we are, you know, right now. And then those things start to become less intense. And then we see incredible change over time as well. It can be immediate or it can come through a progression, I think.
Yeah, I oftentimes have to remind students during our lessons, they're so fixated on, I want final, perfect, polished product by the end of this lesson. And I have to remind them, like, don't focus on that. If you're hyper fixated on that, then you're not focusing on how do I say this? The building blocks, right? The building blocks that will get you over time, will get you there over time. I think what everyone is saying, it's the breakthroughs happen in those small moments that after a year's time or 6 months' time, right? You see this like, oh, and there's so-and-so, there's your voice, right? It's slowly blossoming instead of, it needs to be I need to book Broadway right now, you know? Yeah.
My final question is, what do you all love the most about being a teacher, working for Matt, with Matt, at this incredible vocal technique school? Like, you know.
Well, I like being a teacher, like I said before, because I love to help people. And I love to help people find a greater version of who they are, or the most fulfilled, the most realized version of what they can be. I love being a teacher at Matt Farnsworth Vocal Studio because I have this amazing team. We really, I've taught for many, many years, since 1996. And that's almost 30 years. And I've never felt this sort of same camaraderie. I've loved all my teachers throughout the years, but we do a weekly meeting, we work with students weekly, and we really feel like a team now. And like Grace said, 5 brains are better than 1. So when we have a problem, we're stuck today. When I was like, somebody help me. I was in the middle of working with a student, and I was out of answers because I don't know everything. If I know everything, I'm unteachable. So I have to keep understanding that I need to study, I need to keep furthering my studies, because the more I know, the less I know. Do you know what I mean? So I have to keep like knowing that I don't know and keep open, and these beautiful humans help me do that. So thanks, guys.
Well, I kind of already answered some of this earlier when I was talking about some of Matt and my history, and I love working with Matt because he's like family to me at this point, and we go so far back
Healthy
together.
family.
Well, yeah, sure. But I think that also reiterating what I said before, I think that I really love the feeling of teaching practical singing and things that really work for actors and help them connect better to their acting and their ability to communicate. And that is what we are always focused on. And I think that that's really something I'm very proud of.
I love that we always connect every week. I love that it's not just like this weird hands-off experience. Like, we get feedback. We're all helping each other. I never feel like I'm getting critiqued. It's always in service of, what does the Tao say? Everything is a movement towards perfection. You're never gonna be perfect, but we're always on a journey to keep learning and growing. Students, teachers, everybody. I love it.
I completely agree. I love being a teacher because I love bringing out someone's light, their joy, and their voice, as free as possible. And I think working for our team, meeting as often as we do, is so helpful because we are continuing to learn. And so, we can continue to apply new techniques versus rely on a one-size-fits-all approach. And And I think it's just so important to continue the work, that matters so much in this time. And this team is just so considerate, and it's the best. I love it.
Basically, I'm going to piggyback off of what everyone said. I think it's a really beautiful thing to be able to be of service. I think the voice is such a vulnerable thing, and it's such a personal thing. And to be able to show up for someone in that way is very rewarding, and it's very special, and it's beautiful to witness. So I think being part of this studio and working with everyone who's just so brilliant with what they do and how they navigate, it's just really beautiful. I think sometimes we can come across artists who kind of just live in an echo chamber of themselves, right? And to step out of that and be of service, it's just really beautiful. It's really rewarding.